and gentlemen, here we are in the top right-hand corner of Whirlwind. We have our blue Terran player from Evil Geniuses. This is PuMa. His opponent down here in the bottom left-hand corner is our red Protoss player from LG-IM. Winner of the, well, first game of the set. It's first.
I saw what you did there, man. That was good.
I saw myself walking into it.
You gotta, sometimes you just gotta walk through the door. That's the only exit.
Gotta take it.
Yep.
Gotta take it.
Do me a favor real quick. Will you go to the natural ramp, or the main ramp?
Yeah.
Just straight up. Okay. Okay, they're working. So, last week, Andrew and I were casting on this match, and these towers were lighting up pink on me. And it was blowing my mind. I could not focus on the game whatsoever, because we would go over like a huge fight, and they would just light up pink. So, we got the right map. It's all good in the hood, guys. Don't worry about it.
Towers were blowing your mind.
Yeah, one of the towers.
What combination of drugs were you on when
I swear, because Andrew saw it too, unless we both drank the same water or something. He saw it too. It threw me off, man, but whew, it's all good.
This just in. No, I'm sorry. I'm not.
You're going to fire me again?
No, I wasn't going to fire you. I was going to put you in rehab, but I mean,
okay.
That was about all. Going to be a command center first here for PuMa. Queued up a lot of SCVs. We'll see where he goes after that. First, on the other hand, probably going to do the typical thing. As we see by the early scout here, he's going to head down gateway, then he's going to go for gas. Once he actually ends up scouting his opponent and sees that this is a command center first, he'll pull off of gas and go for a nexus as quick as possible, unless he's going to do something cheesy tech-related.
Yep. As Protoss, you got to go for that 14 gas. You just have to be ready for anything that might come your way. And then, of course, you can just go in the expansion, as Kevin was mentioning. Rehab, man.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind going. They get free yogurt.
Free yogurt.
Everyone loves free yogurt, man.
I love free yogurt myself as well. As a large individual, really any free food does it for me. If you're like, Kevin, I really want you to cast this event we have going on, you know, how much do you charge or whatever, I'll be like, well, I don't know. If you're just like free yogurt. I'm in.
I will cast it. Well, speaking, I need Thursday off. I have to pick somebody up from the airport, so I got some yogurt in my drawer.
Thank you. Okay,
it's been warm for the last couple of days.
I'm fine with that.
So easy, man. Yep. Well, command center first here. Straight up for PuMa. It went straight into a Rax, followed up into a gas. Very normal here for opening, especially for this map. It's so big, you might as well go for a macro-centric build, especially with first looking in the top left corner and not finding his opponent. It's probably going to follow up into the expansion first. It's just so hard to do anything aggressive.
This is actually a little bit problematic for first, just a little bit, because as we mentioned before, you want to be able to cut gas as a Protoss player. You want to be able to move into that nexus as quick as possible. Because he scouted the wrong direction first, he didn't really have the ability to do that. By the time he actually found his opponent, and this was with a probe scouting off of the gateway, he only just now got into his opponent's main. So he already had that 100 gas, and he's like, well, just screw it. I might as well just keep going. I'm going to have this Stalker eventually, or this Sentry, as we see coming up. Still gets his nexus down at a reasonable time, but he would have liked to have found that a bit earlier, because now he is going to be at an economic disadvantage.
Yep, certainly will. And at this point, to kind of counter that disadvantage, you'll open up safe, go into a double Rax, get a Robo, and then just keep tabs on your opponent. Keep an eye of what they're going for, and as soon as you finish off your natural and you get your third gas, you can start falling up into double Forge if you want to, grab that fourth gas, and just really try to grab a mid-game advantage by getting tech early. So that's a choice that we can have here from first. There is a couple of other options, such as two-base aggressive play onto your opponent. That's always fun as well. It's just a matter of what he wants to go into. So just try to find some kind of advantage in some way, some form.
PuMa kills the probe and goes straight for a factory here. So I want to know what he's going to be moving into. Now, don't forget, this is not Heart of the Swarm. This is Wings of Liberty as we wind down this IPTL season. So no threat of Widow Mines or Hellbats or anything along those lines. This is just going to be normal factory play. Possibly Reactored Hellions could actually work out pretty well, closing the distance on Whirlwind here to do some economic damage.
Yeah, and he's even falling up into a second gas here. So potentially Reactored Hellions is most likely it's going to follow up into, but what's it going to go into after that? He could go into another factory and just really turn out the Hellions. This is a play that's become very strong against Protoss here and there on bigger maps. There's also the follow up straight into another starport if you would like to, and start moving into Banshee. And at that point, you use your Hellions to kind of float around the natural, and then you pop into the main. A player like Dream does that strategy. He does it on bigger maps such as Daybreak and whatnot, but it would certainly work on this map too.
All right. Well, the Reactored Hellions are pumping out now, and of course, First only has a couple of sentries on the field to be able to defend this. Now, of course, their utility is going to be great about blocking things as they hit the ramps, but they are very susceptible to Hellions, as a matter of fact, and we indeed have a proxy starport down in the bottom right-hand corner.
I love PuMa, man. Some way, some form, you're going to get 1-1-1 out of him. A Rax, a factory, and a starport. Doesn't matter if he's on 18 bases, he'll go 1-1-1. Love him, dude. This is PuMa's bread and butter, man. He's really good at being aggressive while falling up into the type of expansion that he wants to go into. So he will get the Hellions moving across the middle of the map. We'll follow up into that tech lab, potentially get the Banshee on the field and then just have a normal mid-game. Just wants to get early game aggression on. Oh my gosh, beautiful freaking force fields though from First will stop any of this from working. At this point, he can just have Stalker sitting in his main and defend against his Banshee.
Yeah, that was certainly very impressive with the force fields that he put down. Still, though, the Hellions were able to clean out 2 probes, one inside of the main, one that was actually keeping control of the map. Now, was that enough damage to actually justify their existence? Don't think so, but still, you know, not the worst situation for PuMa. Wishes he could see a little bit more, but I like what's popping out of him at the moment. Yes, we do have the Cloaked Banshees, but on top of this is kind of becoming a very strong 2-base. This is almost close to what Polt was doing at IPL 5 against Zerg players. Lots of Hellions, lots of Marauders, and mix in a couple of Banshees here and there. Looks like he's going to switch it up, though, into a little bit more conventional build after all this happens.
Wow. Okay, so First had the Observer come in and see that 3rd command center, which immediately tells, okay, he's going for a mid-late game. He lost his Hellion, so that means he's going to stop any aggression coming my way. But what's going to surprise him is these Banshees hidden down here in the bottom right corner with Cloak. Out of nowhere, they're going to pop up. It's going to throw off his opponent so much. First could take a lot of damage here. Lose about 8-9 probes if he doesn't manage it correctly. I'm looking around. He hasn't started up Observer quite yet.
Well, no, he does have a couple.
Okay,
and he actually has one in position to be able... Ooh, where is this rallied to? If this even crosses the position of the Banshees.
Yes, he does find the star. He will find the starport. It'll be, oh, it's going to be close enough. I think it's going to be just barely.
Yeah, he did just barely see it. But the thing is that he would have had to been... I mean, he would have had to have eagle eyes there on his mini-map to actually see what's happening. At the same time, we're going to have a few Hellions moving through the front, trying to pick away at this Nexus, draw units out of position while this Banshee comes through. All
right, Banshee heading straight into the main, and while doing this, we'll get the Scout and the double forward at the same time. And the Hellions made these Stalkers come straight to the 3rd, so these Banshees are going to be in trouble for a little bit. A Warpin does hit. Is there Observer close? And yes, First does bring an Observer right away, and effectively holds off this whole entire aggression and comes out a little bit on the ahead side as he moves into his 3rd and gets the double upgrades out.
Oh, this could be bad, though. That was a lot of probes that were lined up, and thankfully the damage isn't as great as you would expect. Let's actually take a look at workers killed. 13 have fallen, though. I mean, between the Banshee and the Hellions, that's a fair amount. 52 workers. Don't forget, double mule production, what's soon to be triple mule production, or actually is triple mule production now, out of these 3 orbital commands. So the economy for PuMa is incredibly well developed. He needs to take a risk at some point, though, and actually get that 3rd base down, because once he gets up to 60 workers with mules, he's going to be very oversaturated, and these 2 bases are going to disappear of resources very quickly.
Yeah, PuMa does squeeze out a little advantage with that aggression, but again, the story for First is his 1-1 just finished. 1-1 is getting very close to finishing it for PuMa, but with Chrono Boost, he'll have 3-3 before 2-2 finishes up. For First, he'll have that advantage for him. He's moving straight into a box bay as well, moving straight into Colossus. He has managed to get to 3 bases, even with Hellion and Banshee play in his main and natural, which is really hard to do as a Protoss player. He's done everything right. Again, PuMa's moving up in upgrades as well, though, moving into Ghost Academy. So I actually kind of put this game on an equal footing. There's small advantages on each side, but they will equal each other out.
All right. Well, PuMa finally putting down that 3rd, as we were talking about before, needs to start shifting some of these SCVs over. You can see already how many resources he's taken from these positions with that command center first. At 12 minutes in, he's halfway through his natural base. So quite a bit there. Let's go ahead and take a look, though, at what's popping up for First at the moment, just moving over to Colossi. He does have range on the way, so he's clearly planning on committing to Colossi for at least a little while. This isn't just going to be that classic 3-base, build 1 Colossus, force Vikings, and switch over into pure Charge Light Archon afterwards.
Observer gets sniped there. So First no longer has an eye in the sky above PuMa's base. And at this point, PuMa's going to start really macroing up here. As you see, starting to finish up a couple of structures, really starting to pop out Vikings, getting Marines on the field here as well. And he really needs to start moving into a couple of medevacs. He's already moved into Vikings because he knows that Colossi are on the way, but he has like 2 medevacs on the field? That's it?
Let me check.
Yeah, 2. That's it. That's kind of scary. You want to have about 4 or 6 potentially before you get too aggressive on your opponent, especially when you have a low Viking count anyways. But we'll see how it works out for him. As he's starting to move out across the middle of the map, he's going to drop to the top left corner, but First also has the Observer at the top left, I believe. So
let's see.
No, Pylon. So
yeah, it's a Pylon.
He's pretty going to be well aware of this.
This is very scary, too. You mentioned the low medevac count before. Using your only available medevacs in this drop, too, means that you have to retreat entirely with your army if things go wrong, because they will have no ability to sustain themselves inside of a fight. Now, now we see 3 being built at a time, so PuMa is going to move into really, really nice unit production here towards the end. Unfortunately for PuMa, that actually ends up just being a lot of permanent damage being done to some of these bio units as he can't catch up to the Blink Stalkers.
Okay, so PuMa realized that he needed medevacs on the field here. He moved into a second starport. So now he has the reactor starport and the regular starport by itself, so he's got 3 medevacs at a time coming out. He just brought 3 out, moving into 3 Vikings. So he realized, okay, I'm going to need medevacs, but I also need Vikings here, so I'm going to really start doubling my production if possible here. So we'll be doing so. Sonic Storm now on the way. Plus 3/3 is now being queued up, a little over the quarter of the way done, and you just see how strong Credit Boost is. 2-2's about to finish up, but first we'll have 3/3 for a good, 45, 60 seconds before his opponent finishes his 3/3, which is really important. Little Zealot run by here as well, run straight on in. Does it get a fresh meal? It does kill a fresh meal. Always a great little kill there.
Almost got another one, too. We see PuMa sitting here with all of his units inside of the medevacs. Wasn't really able to get too much damage done. He did stop one probe who was trying to build a Nexus, so canceled it for about 30 seconds. That actually does help to negate the economic damage he took over here. Now, he's got to realize to put some more workers back on the refinery here in a second, and I imagine he will. As First is actually, he was on a warpath there to try and catch and hunt down those medevacs.
All right. Well, we're starting to really move into the late game here as 4th Nexus is on the way. Both players are getting, only PuMa's getting pretty close to maxing out. Currently at 190, while at the same time we have First chilling around 150 supply. We'd really like to see him start hammering on gateways pretty soon, as that 4th will be finishing up, and he'll be able to get that saturated at the same time and really just be able to keep producing units.
So we're settling in for a little bit longer game here. There is a possibility one big engagement will actually decide this, and one person will be able to counterattack. But for the time being, both players are moving up to their 4th bases. Late game tech is being developed on both sides. Ghost being introduced for PuMa, while at the same time that we have, First moving into his Dark Shrine, eventual late game Archons, things like that. This isn't going to do too much of the assimilator. For some reason, simulators were designed with 900 hit points, and they just don't die ever.
That's what you get for being an advanced race. Oh my god, that feedback was destructive. I wasn't even expecting it, to be completely honest. It just threw me off, man. That was quite a shock. Well, PuMa get distracting around outside here, looking for any observers they can pick off, any pylons if he's paying closely attention to the texture on the map. So he's just looking around for things that might throw him off here. But he needs to get aggressive soon, because he's about 200 supply. He's got plus 3 on the way. But he's going to kind of waste his time where he has more supply than his opponent. Yeah, you mentioned his opponent's ability to have that upgrade advantage over him. I will say both players have had very nice map control. You can see red and blue dots basically everywhere, as they have really good vision as to what's going on. A couple of DTs trying to sneak on by, and it looks like they're going to do it. PuMa is dropping down to the bottom left-hand corner, though. At the same time, just Zealots being brought in to try and slow down this force, but that's not going to be enough, and this is going to be a dead Nexus if he doesn't retreat in time. All right, we got DTs in the main, the natural and the third. Going to start wrecking on a couple of these SCVs. A scan does go down to get rid of that one. The one in the natural, though, is still killing off all these units. The SCV is unfortunately not strong enough. That 4th base did go down at that 9 o'clock position, by the way, as it was killed off by that small force available as well. And at the same time, we have a pylon in the top right corner at the 3 o'clock that's dealing with this command center. So a lot of multitasking for both players. And these very injured units are trying to run in and snipe out a couple of Templar. It looks like they managed to grab a couple, but a bunch are sacrificed in the process. Pretty good storm to actually drive a few of these Vikings away, but they're in such great number that they can deal with the Colossi so outrageously quickly. PuMa just waiting here until he finishes plus 3. He's lost a lot of SUVs, especially the 3rd. His 4th was killed off, so he knows that he has to crush this army and kill off this 3rd base for it to be kind of an even game here. So he's just waiting to have that upgrade available to him, because he wants to be on even upgrades with his opponent. At this time, though, more DTs are making their way into the natural, into the main, and those have been quite a pain in the rear here for PuMa. And all they have to do is trunk away this missile turret, and they've got free reign of this natural here. So actually going after supply depots for now, which is kind of a cool touch. It actually does limit your opponent a lot more than you think it does. And this force is actually positioned here and ready to gun down this Nexus yet again. Okay, First Scott's it in time. He brings his whole entire army over. You do not want to lose that Nexus. It's really important here, as both players are starting to get more mined out of the bases they do have. The 3rd base is actually gone for PuMa, so he's effectively stuck on half a base, because that natural has some minerals there. PuMa just going to gear up for another push, it looks like. He's trying to get another command center built, but he can't really sit around too long, because at that point, First will get way too strong. He's going to keep up with Colossi production, move into plasma shields, and again, can keep expanding.
68 workers killed in this game so far. Only 83 non-worker kills, actually, so the economy has taken the brunt of the damage here from both of our forces. And looks like PuMa's going to try and make his way through. Does finally force this Dark Templar off the position there so he can set down his third base once again. With no Colossi in this army, though, it's really going to allow PuMa to be able to concentrate on just an incredible ground force. He's got a lot of ghosts mixed in. He's got a decent amount of medevacs now with 5 and hasn't had to put any more money into Vikings whatsoever. So his ground force is actually quite powerful despite the supply and upgrade advantage for First.
Well, First is moving into a Warp Prism, which is very traditional of him. Very standard. He'll get a Warp Prism and then kind of bait the main army, chasing his army around, and kind of keep pulling back and trying to get High Templar feedbacks off. And the Warp Prism will go all the way around and just drop in the natural in the main. And so that's the plan here. But for now, PuMa's just moving forward. He's going to catch an Immortal off, which is it's okay. You can lose that at this point. Gives more supply available to start moving into the Colossus and get some more Zealots out. But you want to be careful here. You don't want to get with huge EMPs in any way, shape, or form.
I'm so afraid, though, for First, with only one Colossus on the map, so little AoE to be able to deal with these massive amounts of ranged DPS units, and just don't know what he's going to do to be able to defend against this. The control for PuMa's been very good. Finally, First comes back with a couple feedbacks of his own and limits the amount of ghosts that are actually on the map, but there's still enough here that they can spam out EMPs very effectively.
Yeah, especially without this natural in the third, it makes the Protoss kind of creep up as they come up that ramp. So PuMa's going to take advantage of this. Lands amazing EMPs. All the Zealots have lost the majority of their shields. We have First charging forward. Vikings dealing with the Colossus, but the Zealots is moving forward as fast as possible here. There's way too much Terra. Some nice micro is happening for PuMa with the medevac heal as well. PuMa crushes that army.
That was a sick play from PuMa there, being able to just pick off the Templar in the middle, then going right after and EMPing everything in sight for First. Unbelievable control there from PuMa. Really top-notch stuff, and he just took about a 25 supply disadvantage and put it at a 40 supply advantage, and he is crushing through this game.
All right, well, we have some Blink Micro happening for First. He's trying to wait till he get a Colossus on the field here, just trying to take whatever he can. Stalker's getting caught, though, with the Marauders moving forward. Once again, this army is it. That's it for First. He has to out-micro in some way, some form, but even with the medevacs here, it's just keep healing on through. PuMa is going to kill off the Stalkers. DTs are warped in. Is there a scan available? Yes, scan does come down, and the whole army is crushed. First has nothing except one Stalker.
No, PuMa, this was a fantastic performance. He took a bad situation and turned it into an incredible one for him. Last couple of robotics facilities about to die. Dark Templar are dying in the process as well. There's GG. Evil Geniuses ties it up. We're 1-1 going into game number 3. Wow.
Man, everyone came out in the Team Liquid thread and was saying that First was going to all kill. Nope. That's what PuMa says. No way, man. 80% of people believe that we were going to have First come out and just all kill, but nope, that's not happening. PuMa coming out, doing what he does, man. He wins a match in these IPTLs in some way, some form. If he can land another one, he's done his job. If he can all kill, he'll be an all-star. But well done in that game, man. You're right. He was completely behind, really macroed up a nice army, waited till he got his upgrades out that was needed, moved into as many ghosts as possible, and just landed money EMPs at the end there to really just take the huge advantage and finish out the game.
All right, guys, so that brings us to a 1-1 tie. We are going to run to a commercial break, but when we get back, it'll be time for game number 3 between Evil Geniuses and IEM to decide who moves into the finals of the IPTL.